welcome to this new normal world and to this wonderful discussion which we are having with the CEOs of select cooperative banks who are architects of the cooperative banking sector and understand from them how they are architecting the future of the cooperative banking industry in this new normal world. Welcome. And today we have a wonderful panel with us, which is comprising of some of the most interesting luminaries from the world of cooperative banking. I would first like to start off by introducing Mr. Mukund Abhyankar, who is the most senior most person in this group today with us. He is a founder, he is a former chairman of uh, Cosmos Bank. And sir, welcome to Banking Frontiers FTBA 2020. Along with him, we have Mr. Satish Uthekar, who is a noted cooperative banking CEO consultant. He was the former CEO of PGSB Bank. We have Mr. Rajesh Mirjankar, who is the CEO of Infrasoft Technologies, which has been one of the largest provider of cooperative banking solutions, especially core banking, which has got the largest number of core banking installations in the cooperative world. And today it is a global company which is providing business transformation and digital transformation solution to the cooperative banking sector. We have Mr. Inder Singh Mahida, who is the CEO of one of the forward-looking district cooperative banks, the Surat District Cooperative Bank, based out of Surat in Gujarat. Welcome, Mahida ji, to this interesting conference and to this interesting discussion. And along with them, we have Mr. Anurag Srivastava, who is the Chief Executive Officer of Uttar Pradesh Federation of Urban Cooperative Banks. Let me now introduce you to my next guest. He is Mr. Atul. Atul ji is the CEO of Kalyan Janta Sahkari Bank.
Good morning, Babu, and the entire FCBA team. It has always been a pleasure talking to you.
And last but not the least, Mr. A.B. Mane of Kolhapur DCCB will also be joining us in some time, who is basically going to share his perspective from the DCCB segment. Welcome everyone to all this wonderful session, and let us now understand how the cooperative banking is welcoming the new normal. So let me just start with some conversations today, especially when it comes to all our businesses. The cooperative banks have adapted to the new normal and planned their business strategies in the new digital world. I would like to understand from CEOs and chairmen today, what are the new possibilities that you have seen now in this new normal world? Abhyankar ji, you have been a visionary in this cooperative sector for quite some time now. What are the new possibilities you see today compared to what changes have happened, sir?
Yes, Mr. Babu, thank you very much. We have adopted this technology in 2004 when
Yes.
most of the nationalized banks were not having this technology also. We had an agreement with Infosys, and Infosys has given us permission to give their software Finacle to the banks. But during last 20 years, I have experienced that Finacle is very costly. Although they are improving every year, they are originally having software number 3, then they upgraded to number 5, then upgraded number 7, now they are having number 10. But it is very, very costly actually. So that most of the smaller banks, especially, they are not able to afford. So at that time, Shamrao Vittal Cooperative Bank, they were having their IT man also in charge, and he has given about 40 banks they have supplied software. It was reasonably priced, and therefore that software was very useful. And our software was only for some few banks only. But thereafter, we have resorted to many technologies, and actually now we are probably number 2 or number 3 probably to banking without coming to the bank actually. And this is very advantageous now during last 8 months actually. Our business is growing actually because people cannot come to bank. Originally, they were not allowed to go on the roads also. But in spite of that, they were doing business through this technology. And that's what is very, very good, actually, I can say. If anybody else has to comment, please, he's welcome to comment on this.
Thank you, sir. Uthekar ji, thank you very much, Abhyankar ji. Uthekar ji, what are the new possibilities that have risen out of this pandemic now? You have been an industry observer, a CEO, and today consulting several banks. What is your perspective?
Thank you, Mr. Babu. In fact, in pandemic, everyone knows that the entire world and around 210 countries, everybody affected, and in every country, or we can say the world economy.
Sir, your voice is muted. Your voice is muted, please.
Yeah. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Absolutely.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Babu. In fact, pandemic has darker side as well as a brighter side also. Mm-hmm. I just mentioned to Rajesh also that how is the business? So my question was that the positivity into the business. You can see, we just take a look to the share market. All IT company shares are zooming.
Correct.
And everybody expects that IT company shares will do well. A lot of activities are going on. Apart from that, as a banker, personally, I personally feel that pandemic has given us a lot of learning. Mm-hmm. And I will only talk about the positive side of it, because if you go on looking to the negative side of the pandemic, we can have a lot of issues also. Without pandemic also, we were having issues. So everybody, so there is no need for pandemic. But let us see what are the positive effect of the pandemic. That is one by one. I'll just, whatever I personally feel. One is that we are into digital world. We are into digital age. And World Bank has already declared this as a digital revolution. This is a like green revolution, industrial revolution, and now the digital revolution. This is one revolution. And the bankers, like Mr. Abhyankar was saying, that they adopted technology in 2004 when the public sector banks were not going for technology. There was a lot of resistance in public sector bank. And cooperative banks, much ahead of time, they adopted technology. Many of the banks have gone for the costlier software like Finacle and all. They created infrastructure, but could not take a multiplier effect by doing a business process re-engineering, by even ensuring that all customers are into digital world, or the delivery channels are offered to them. Even our staff is not aware about what is technology. If we are talking a lot about mobile banking, internet banking, or now we say a lot of payment settlement systems are there on digital payment, but our own staff is not there. As I am just sharing for my advantage of my colleagues on the panel and those who will be attending afterwards, that as a consultant, I was talking, I'm talking about a very big multinational, multi-state cooperative bank. There I am an advisor. So there, in fact, I carried out one exercise asking only staff members how many they are using their own mobile banking delivery channels as well as the debit card whenever they go to the malls. And you will be surprised, out of around 2,500 employees, only around say 150, 180 employees are using this. This is also a learning for the bank. And then management also suddenly means they were not aware. They were under impression that my entire staff is using. So see, out of that, only 70, 80 people were swapping their debit card to the malls or for any payment system. Or to the means if suppose I am not using the technology, how can I take it to the customers? But pandemic has done that. Pandemic has taken the technology to the customers. Now customers are demanding whether your bank is a digital, having a digital transformation or not. If I am not on a digital platform, I'm not offering a seamless technology delivery channels, then I'm out of the market. That is what I personally feel. But particularly The challenges are, we all the time are going to talk about the credit growth and all, but the major challenges are going to be the resources mobilization, where the customers, the depositors, they want access to their account anytime. And because of technology, they understood that it is possible whenever they are, wherever they are going, they have access to the account. If suppose my bank is not digital, I'm not creating awareness, I'm not taking the product to the customers, it is silently they will be leaving my bank. And most of the banks, they in cooperative, everybody will experience that, maybe experiencing also. They are slowly moving towards the public sector banks and small finance bank. It is not only because of the PMC scam. Everybody is blaming PMC scam. Yes, there is an impact of PMC scam. I don't disagree with that. But then digital, we can take awareness of the customers, and particularly YGN customers, young generation, they need it. So we should understand this. But see, technology, pandemic has taken customers ahead of time. What we could not have done in another 5 years to 6 years time, the pandemic has helped us to do that. Let us take the advantage. Then secondly, personally, I feel as a business strategy, if suppose we focus properly, now recently Reserve Bank of India has issued a circular to have around 50% into retail banking. That is one challenge everybody feels. But if you see the balance sheet of SDFC Bank and all other banks, even I was going through the IndusInd Bank balance sheet also, their major focus is on retail. Now, this IDFC Bank, the chairman has given a vision to their people that every minute I want a disbursement in retail banking, every minute. So this is what they are thinking. So this is, in fact, that is the bread and butter, not only bread and butter, actually butter we are giving to the private sector bank. And this butter, if you want a bag, we need to enter into retail banking, and technology only can help us. And because of technology, our profitability will go up. My cost of transaction, cost of operations will come down, productivity level, then efficiency will increase, and it will certainly improve your profitability. It is now a matter of time for the top management to ensure that it is properly, we take advantage of this situation, and pandemic is going to be this is a great blessings for particularly for the cooperative bank. I personally. Now we need to focus on the HR development, make our people knowledgeable, improve their skill, and then take it forward through them to the customers. This is what we need to do.
Atulji, may I have your views on conversion into small finance bank, please?
As far as the question which Babu is raising, yes, a lot of learnings, a lot of tweaking here and there. In fact, I believe that we have become much more stronger due to COVID. We had never thought that COVID would put us to some kind of tests which are very tough. And I suddenly realized that the people I'm having on board, and with the combination of digitalization, 25% of people I don't need. It would mean that strategically, we can work with lesser number of people. That is one thing. That's because of the digital platform that we have been constantly using. And what we did was we immediately evaluated, perhaps for the first time, we did an impact analysis on the various contours of bank which could be affected, and prepared a report of almost around 30 pages, which was given to Reserve Bank of India. And we started working on that, and we realized that manpower is one area where we have to focus too much, and we ensured that we pampered them well. In fact, we supported them through different measures. One of the biggest support that we gave was this, that we gave them money to ensure that their life is safeguarded and they come to the bank comfortably. Now in the month of Jan, things are happily improved. But the advantage that we gained during the last 6 or 7 months has placed us in a different scenario, for the simple reason I'll tell. Let me admit that now the business strategy is being driven by the regulatory guidelines. For example, the concentration risk circular which was issued has virtually put a brake on my growth in terms of the wholesale business. So it's completely a focus from wholesale to retail business. That's where the cooperative banks are moving. And virtually the regulatory guidelines which are in place now are virtually nudging the urban cooperative banks towards the small finance banks. The urban cooperative banks would not like to forgo their universal banking status and would not like to be controlled by the restrictions on lending and all those operations. Having said that, it is important that the risk management has completely changed. Suddenly, we realize that we are all going gung-ho on technology and we are exposed to the risks. And the exposure to the risk has pushed, for example, my bank is in level 4 of the cyber security norms. I had to invest around 4 to 5 crores, not for business booking, but for the safety standards or the safety norms. So the investment is now in technology which I'm doing is not virtually becoming productive for me. So this is one of the greater lesson. I will be spending a lot of money on security features. Having said that, you made a reference to the requirement of regulation. Babu, I'm a little bit acidic and very disturbed. Uh, since 2003, from Madhavpura episode, the regulator has been harping that you should be professional, you should be professional, you should have this, you should have that. Fine, it's all fine. We all did that. We are a good bank because we all have complied with that. My worry is that whether the regulator is professional. Unfortunately, I find evidences where I find that they are not professional. To quote a simple example, the BR Act amendment which took place somewhere in the month of March, the ordinance was issued somewhere in the month of June, end of June, and actually a revised bill was passed in the month of September. Prior to that, when a bill is introduced by the Ministry of Finance in the Parliament, it is the Reserve Bank of India who has supported the drafting of the bill, contributed into the drafting. They were aware of what are the contents of the bill. Even today, the regulator has not been able to fine tune its regulatory policies to meet the amendments that have come, and the entire sector is virtually in a confused state of mind. Secondly, there is a disconnect that has been created. Disconnect between the regulator and the sector. Unfortunately, the voice of Federation and the voice of NAFCA is unheard in the regulator's body. That's the unfortunate truth. And if the sector's body is failing to get what it wants, I'm sorry that the professionalism is not displayed.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that good encapsulation. Let me just go to Mahida ji. Mahida ji, you have been a seasoned banker for so many years and you are from the District Central Cooperative Banking sector. How has your experience been? Because most of your customers will not be very, very tech savvy compared to the urban cooperative banks.
In our bank, we are having 111 years old bank. We are having a banking on vehicle facility. We are having 4 vans, mobile vans, and they are giving the services in the remote area. During the pandemic period, the people are wanting what Mr. Satish Uttekar Sahab has said. The people are wanting, you give us the various electronic services to us. And that is why I can give the figures of 1 year's back. In every electronic transaction, there is a rise of 250%. Basically, you know, our bank is a mean for the farmers community, rural development and cooperative sector, sir. So particularly, I have put up one note before my chairman that in pandemic situation, we have to give one more customer-friendly scheme to our farmers. Generally, we are giving the KCC, but we have derived one scheme up to 50,000. So those who are having one KCC for 1 lakh rupees, we are giving them 15,000. 2 lakhs KCC, we are giving 30,000. 3 lakhs KCC, we are giving 50,000. So at the rate of 7% only. And you will wonder that total 52 crores have been distributed among 11,000 farmers within a 2 months of period, pandemic period. We have arranged so many training programs on virtual basis. So our staff also become acquainted this type of training sessions. So many things we have learned. And as far as business is concerned, there is no problem in increasing of business in our particular area. As you know, Delhi is our capital, but main business center is Mumbai. So is the case in Gujarat. Gandhinagar, Ahmedabad is a capital, but Surat is a business center for entire Gujarat. So there is so much potentiality in our Surat city. So there is no problem regarding the business increase in our bank.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that good encapsulation. Atulji, what is your perspective when it comes to the banks looking at unforeseen situations like the pandemic?
We realize that there is a threat to the credibility, and there's a different kind of risk. We did have impact on our balance sheet as well. What we thought was that it is necessary for us to use the digital platform to reach out to our customers. And we digitally try to reach out to them. And how did we do? We have social media handle. For example, we have a Facebook. We were not very aggressive on Facebook, but post PMC, we become very aggressive on Facebook. I mean, we conducted one campaign on Facebook which talked about my bank, my pride, and our employees talked about how their bank is good. You will be surprised to note that each of my single posts exceeded the likes and the followers by 10,000. Our community grew tremendously. That was one part. Second part, we conducted several direct touch campaigns for each center, each branch. The contact people. See, every branch has got 100 key people who support your center, taking them into confidence. And we arrested the decline that was possibly happening post some events. And I talked to the Federation and I talked to NAFCAB also, because this is a time where we have to present our cooperative bank's image into the minds of entire population of the country. And there was a need to conduct a campaign like that.
We have had some fantastic insights from you. Now let me go to Rajesh, who has been at the helm of digital technologies and has been looking at a lot of very, very innovative deliveries to the cooperative sector in the last few months. Rajesh, how has the sector shaped up in the last few years, and what new things are the banks seeking now?
Yeah. First of all, thank you for having me on the panel. And it's great to interact with people whom I have been revering for decades. You know, in the last 25 years with Infrasoft Tech, I have worked very closely with quite a lot of stalwarts from the cooperative banking industry, and it's great to have some of them on the panel today. I think from a perspective of how the industry has spanned out over the decade, as rightly Mr. Abhyankar said, as well as Uttekar sir also said, that the adoption of technology has been really pretty much as early as anybody else in the industry in India. So in many ways, the cooperative banking industry has been a pioneer in adoption of core banking technology, as well as the one prior to that with the TBA. And that's how our origination happened 25 years ago. I think gradually they have really looked at adoption of technology in a very proactive way, where they have gone forth and adopted new modules, etc., whenever they've been launched. The aspect has been there that they've also received a lot of support from a perspective of the ecosystem in digital payments, where, you know, everyone loves writing obituaries of the cooperative banking sector every now and then. So when the emergence of private banks happened, they said now the cooperative banking sector will disappear. They surprised them with, you know, the building up their AUM overall. Although the number of cooperative banks may have reduced from 1,900 odd to 1,500 odd today, but if you look at the amount of business done, it is significant. The other part that cooperative banks have done very well is to adapt. So for example, when fintechs were coming out, again, they said cooperative banks will face a problem. When digital payments came out, they said they will face a problem. And you will see that cooperative banks have adopted digital payments as much with the same gusto as much as private banks or public sector banks. So if you see the penetration of digital transactions within cooperative banks, both for ATMs, for cards, as well as for POS and micro ATMs, it has been tremendous. That is one part that has probably held them in good stead. And I can tell you from how I relate to the sector and seen its maturity. If you look at the leveraging of the cloud, that has tremendously benefited a big part of the industry. We have over 200 banks on the cloud. And I can tell you that if it was for the pandemic without the cloud, we would have had a big issue in the business continuity planning for the industry. As we stand today, and in the pre-panel discussion, I was telling Mr. Uttekar as well, that to do the day-end operations interest application on 31st March with very minimal staff in the bank being allowed during lockdown, and to do it successfully, you've not heard of a bank being closed on that day. Banks have continuously provided operations through the period of pandemic. In many ways, I wrote an article in one of the newspapers that I see bankers as the silent heroes. For me, they are the corona warriors, because they led the country out of the economic crisis that the pandemic brought about. The health crisis was addressed to by the doctors and others, but the banks really brought out the country out of the economic crisis with cash being available, not just now, but even in the earlier crisis. And that is where you see the resilience of the sector. What do you see as a sector that seemingly does not have investments in IT? It has now proven that it has enough to be on par with the best in the industry by saying none of the banks that at least we service were down during the pandemic. It holds the same good for digital transactions as well. You will see from the customers of various cooperative banks that they have had access to mobile banking, they've had access to all the services continuously. This shows that the industry itself has matured. We always like to sort of, criticize ourselves as an industry to say we aren't doing enough. But I think the cooperative banking industry should really take a bow here, that through the period of the pandemic, it has sustained itself in a way that they are now primed to grow very well. And I can tell you how I relate to this. I heard the word customer centricity from a private bank only recently in the last 5 years. I have seen 25 years ago, in my first meeting with the banking stalwarts that I addressed in those days, that customer centricity was the prime aspect of what was cooperative banking. So when you look at customer centricity from a CRM perspective, it has appeared about a decade ago. But in their business model, cooperative banks held it to their heart from the beginning. And I think that will be the major difference when it comes to when you emerge out of the pandemic, how will cooperative banks come out with a positive attitude? If you also look at the aspect of what was the cooperative industry as a revolution itself, it was formed during 1904 when there was lack of finance for the unbanked sector, for farmers, for artisans, etc. And it's the same gusto that you can use now to say that when you want to emerge out of it, the cooperative banking sector can work with its close-knit cooperative sector itself to sort of raise the bar and show growth. With the adoption of digital technology, and I want to just bring this forth, digital onboarding, for example, whether it is with APS earlier, the Aadhaar card-based onboarding, or whether it is with now digital onboarding, that will tremendously benefit the cooperative sector, because there are two challenges they will face. Is one, to not be able to grow the number of branches continuously. Two is to have social distancing, but digital proximity to their clients. And that is where digital onboarding, I think, will play a big role. Banks that have adopted technology and have the sort of infrastructure that is required for digital payments can now go on to the next phase of digital onboarding to be able to quickly do that. So I think in a way, the pandemic has been a proof that the cooperative banking sector is one that is resilient and robust. And what you see as bad news in this industry in a few headlines is probably just a few of the bad apples, but not necessarily a reflection of what the industry stands for.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajesh. I think that was a good encapsulation. So, friend, I just wanted to check with Anurag ji, Mr. Anurag Srivastava ji. Can you just share, with the amount of loss of trust that has happened due to this falling of a couple of important banks in the sector, the entire sector has had a little bit of issues with people trying to, move away or alienate themselves from the cooperative banking sector. What is your suggestion? How the cooperative banks have to really install once again that kind of trust into the minds of the people and do better businesses? Anurag ji, can you share some perspective?
Yeah, Babu, thank you for giving me an opportunity. Before I start on the specifics that you have asked, I would like to sum up what these people are saying. The pandemic has put the banks under a stress test, and we have come out of it with flying colors. So the heart of the banking system, the cooperative banks, is very nice, and we are there to serve the people. And now coming to what you are saying, any bad news about the sector that comes affects all the banks, whether it is big or small. Everybody is affected. And yes, there is some amount of mistrust, distrust in the cooperative bank sectors because of the recent actions that have happened. Having said that, the other thing is that it is more perceptional because we have not seen much flight in deposit or from the bank. Neither the customers have switched over. Unfortunately, the customers switch over so silently that you don't come to know. But the deposits, if they are the true reflection, and the deposits have all been growing. So, though we talk of the effect on the sector, but it has not really affected the business much adversely.
Interesting.
That is my take. Yes. Now, as far as the pandemic is concerned, what you are saying in the experience in Maharashtra, I would like to add to that. Now, the customers have become more receptive to technology. In our part of the country, we were trying to tell customers, do this, do this, do this. But now they are asking, and it is now that the bank should get the benefit of technology here in this, the small banks especially.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that insightful information and your sharing. One important thing is these are also the times to introduce innovations, introduce new products, introduce newer services because the traditional things may not work in many of the cases. So, what kind of innovations or what kind of new products or development activities have you seen in the last few months, especially in the cooperative banking sector? How is the sector innovating now to bring more confidence, more trust, and more customers to the bank? Abhyankar ji, do you have any thought to share on that?
Two years back, actually, we had a cyber attack. Our bank was having cyber attack in which within 4 hours, we have lost 95 crore rupees in 28 countries, actually. And the surprising, the duplicate ATM cards were prepared by some gang. And actually, suppose now it's 545. So 545 withdrawal was made in Russia, in Moscow, and 546 on the same card, the withdrawal was made in New York, actually in America. So 2 cards and 3 cards were issued by even in Gulf countries also. And we could not recover excepting 5 crore of rupees. And because of the Sushma Swaraj was the foreign affairs minister at that time, she helped us a lot. And actually in Hong Kong bank, actually there were about 15 crore rupees were collected in somebody's account. So we had asked Sushma Swaraj to hold that amount there. And therefore, actually, our software still is very weak. Actually, I know Mr. Rajesh said something in Infrasoft. Actually, still we have to improve a lot, actually. And now there is some few banks, State Bank of India or Bank of India. Now they have devised one. We are also adopted that you can withdraw the money without inserting your card in the ATM, actually, because you get a OTP and you just punch the OTP on the ATM machine and you get the money. So your card need not be inserted in the ATM machine, so that the duplicate photo of the card or this. And 2 days back, RBI has appointed one committee about this sanctioning of the loan. So actually that is also very useful. Earlier, RBI was not looking to the technical side or technology. Now RBI also realized that, and they have started looking to the technological side of this business, actually. And so therefore, I am looking forward. I am with the bank. Actually, I am not say 42 years I am in this bank, actually. Out of my life, half of my life is devoted for Cosmos Bank only. I am now 84 years old, and 42 years I am devoted for Cosmos Cooperative Bank. And therefore, I have learned so many new and bad things actually, and very costly affairs. Now, last 3 years, because we are having a loss, we cannot pay dividend because of the 95 crore cash loss there. So, therefore, as just like said by Rajesh, actually, lots of things we have to adopt still today. We have adopted 10% only or 20% today. 80% still we have to adopt still. And that is my personal thinking actually. We have to learn.
Utekarji, what are the kind of products and services that are making its way into the market in this new era, and how are they, getting its acceptance in the market?
Babu, in fact, let me first make a reference of the whatever Rajesh was saying and Mr. Abhankar also highlighted. One is that pandemic has proved that Indian banking never stops, whatever may come. That is the confidence level created among the customers. I think we should take a benefit of this. The customers also understood that the Indian banking system will never stop. One. Secondly, let congratulate all the bankers. They worked as a frontline workers during the COVID. So we can say they are the not silent, but really COVID warrior, and they supported economy like anything. Because of that, during pandemic, yes, Indian economy has sustained all these losses. Now it started again coming up. As you rightly said that customer-centric focus, what Rajesh was mentioning. Now customers are forcing the banker to understand that we are most important. Actually, the pandemic has, again, this is one more story we should understand that we are most important. That is what customer is saying now. Bankers did not say that I am having a customer focus, customer centeredness approach and all. The customer say, let us look at me, what I am looking for. So that is what is the pandemic is. I think it's a great learning for the bankers. Now the innovative products we are talking about. But before that, let us touch two more important points. As Mr. Srivastava also mentioned, the banker also mentioned. See, there are important pillars to the banking. One, and everything is going to be the processes. The first pillar is the technology. You have to be with the modern technology, upgrade your technology and leverage the technology. That is most important. Second important part is that your HR, your entire team, if you don't have a knowledgeable and performing team, you cannot do anything. And then everything, whatever business you procure, whatever business you mobilize, it is a process. If you have a best of the best technology, it's a process. 50% of the retail I'm talking about, you come out with the innovative product, like he was mentioning about Kisan, this agricultural products. I was discussing with one of the e-commerce team. They are coming out with a product where the retail loans are converted into deposits. And they say that now the retailers, we can say the retailers as well as the banker, they should understand that they are selling a product. They are not giving loans. They are selling a product. How to analyze it, how to do a risk management, that is the banker's duty. And you have everything available. Let us do our personal analysis also, data analysis. We never did that. We always played with the figures, but we never did a data analysis. We never understood the customer. This is a during pandemic time. Now this is an opportunity for us to do a data analysis, understand our customers, understand their needs. Let us reach to the customer, and it is virtually possible to reach to the customer. It's not necessary that physically you visit the customers. Many of the bankers started tying up with the manufacturers, retail bankers, and lot of opportunities has been created. Yesterday, I just visited the Thar showroom, Mahindra showroom, and there they proudly displayed that during last 3 months, they sold 541 cars. One showroom is selling 541 cars, that were Mahindra cars. You just understand how the economy is growing. What is the purchasing power of the Indian customers? So based on that, you need to come out with the product like SDFC is giving a two-wheeler loan only looking to the debit side of the customer. They only look to the debit side of the customer's passbook. How much electricity bills you have paid, how much expenditure you are doing. They are not looking to the income, and looking to that only they are financing two-wheelers. You will be surprised. Pandemic has again taken cooperative banks to a section. I remember 1992 story financial reform when it was financial reform was stable and then it was initiated. You can see the growth of the cooperative bank. I feel after pandemic, if we properly structure our business strategy, leverage on the technology, make our HRT more knowledgeable and performing, I think the 1992 story will again begin. I'm looking to a positive side of the pandemic. Looking to a positive side of the pandemic. Thank you.
Fantastic, sir. That was a very good industry observation. Atulji, what is your view when it comes to your learning from what has happened and what is the road ahead?
The small finance bank, the guidelines are not very conducive for the simple reason that from amongst the existing promoters, you have to identify 10 or 12 promoters who will contribute 26% of the equity. For us, for starting SFB, you should have a 50 crore capital, and at the time of commencement of business, you need 100 crores. That you need to extend to 200 crores within a period of 5 years. All said and done, typically SFB is going to cater to the typical segment because it cannot be a universal bank. And then as a cooperator, you remember 2012 was a year which was celebrated as year of cooperatives. We all had pledged that we would ensure that the cooperative movement survives. That is one part. One bank in UP got the SFB license very recently, and one bank in Mumbai passed a resolution to be SFB. I do not recollect the name, but there is a Mumbai-based bank, a multi-state bank, which has a presence in Gujarat as well. They also passed it. Basically, what happens, I would like to quote what Jyotindra Bhai Mehta had said, that in a cooperative segment, the owners are trustees. And in small finance bank, owners become real owners. So try to understand the subtle difference. And therefore, the sector will resist migration. See, if you look at the Reserve Bank of India circular, you will find that the title of the circular is indicative. What they're saying, voluntary migration. So it is not compulsory. That is one part. So if it is a voluntary, I feel that I would be doing a little better. See, why UP Bank went for SFB? Their core competency was self-help group. They had some 7, 8, 10 branches, but the core competency was they had 30,000 self-help group. So migration to SFB for them was a different advantage. Not all UCBs are having such kind of core competency where the 75% priority sector could be lent. And therefore, SFB is something not a good take for the sector is what I personally believe.
I'm sure Rajesh can probably throw a little light on how technology is helping on faster turnaround times, especially in the retail banking space using analytics, loan automation, and AI.
Yes. So I think, like Mr. Utekar said rightly, a data-driven approach to either addressing opportunity or risk is the right way forward. If we look at the use of artificial intelligence, it would actually begin with the aspect of having machine learning done through extensive data that is available with the bank. And in that way, I think when you look at lending business per se, with the core focus of, let's say, the bank being on lending, then it is best to really bring in a loan origination solution that can bring in a data-driven approach, either in terms of internal credit scoring, if it's a score, if it's an entity or an SME without any credit score, and also look at, let's say, the various aspects, and not, mind you, it's not just urban cooperative banks, but also the rural segment, which is through state cooperative and DCCBs and PACs. The lending needs to happen with a set of discipline and a SOP that says that what are the checks and balances that were in place while lending. The second part is to really look at a data-driven approach for success of the client. That is one aspect that was not the focus earlier, but I think if banks were to focus on it now, you will be able to have a higher velocity of transaction, a repetitive lending facility with that client. Let's say, for example, working capital and things like that. Because what you will be doing, and Mr. Utek also rightly mentioned this. What are your debits in your account? What's your capability to finance that? That shows the capability of the customer to create capital and hence the confidence to provide more in terms of funding. That those are aspects that can only be driven through technology. The second part, why data-driven approach is necessary, is if you look at the velocity of transactions through digital banking, the 4I approach is no longer relevant. In fact, a no-I approach is relevant. And that's where technology would come in place. I think a relevant point that was also raised by Mr. Abhyankar as well as Mr. Srivastava was the cyber security aspect. It is time that the cooperative banking segment also looks at such systems to be implemented, not necessarily in the whole behemoth of anti-fraud, but clearly on the key aspects of business that they need help in monitoring, especially where the velocity of transactions is high. I think the core aspect also is about where you use technology effectively. Digital transactions, when you look at it, I think if you were to leverage externalizing of IT, that is where it would help the bank most, because there would be systems and processes that are required from a security perspective that need to be addressed. NPCI has set very perfect guidelines for that. If you look at the overall cybersecurity incidents within India and the amount of frauds that are, let's say, on UPI or IMPS, they are lesser than cards. It's an industry. Cards is an industry that's been there for decades. This industry has the most attacks also probably, but it is these checks and balances that allow them to keep a check on it. And I think the segment needs to really open up to say what is it that they will internalize, what is to externalize, and also to adopt a data-driven approach for decision making. I think the next set of systems that will come in should be in the area of loan origination systems, as well as the social profiling or the demographic profiling of customers when you do the onboarding of the customer itself. And hence, my suggestion to the banks would be to go for a digital onboarding, even if the customer came to the branch, because you will be able to capture all those details from a perspective of how the customer feels comfortable giving out those.
Interesting. That's a very good suggestion. And maintaining of digital records is quite instant, and it can be transferred easily within the bank, and it can be accessed as and when it is required. That's a very, very interesting perspective. I think one of the most important and fundamental thing is to build all these security and hygiene practices grounds up when you are launching a product, or to capture things at the at the point of beginning, rather than do patchwork and put it you launch the product, then after that you start doing patchwork. That patchwork would probably definitely lead to leakage, but this definitely won't. And that is a constant measure of the Japanese way of kaizen, continuous improvement and building it grounds up. Just going to the next question, we have another 5 minutes more. One is, there is a lot of interest amongst many of the banks to go in for something called as a small finance bank. On the other side, banks, when it comes to this decision about whether or not to go for small finance bank, and second, what kind of governance standards and compliance should be put into place to make sure that this same enjoyment of freedom and the sector benefits should be enjoyed by the banks, and at the same time make them risk free. Any thoughts, Satish Utekar ji, if you have on this area?
Mr. Babu, I have a very clear thought on this. We don't need to go for a small finance bank. We already are doing banking. It is universal banking. It is only a business strategy what we are adopting.
Maida ji, I don't think in the DCCB side there is any kind of pressure for that. But any new governance structure or anything that you think should come into the cooperative banking sector to make it more energized or lucrative in the sector?
No, sir. What has happened in respect of DCCB, there is no question of a conversion of payment or small bank, because RBI has not given the permission to DCCB to become a scheduled bank also.
Thank you very
much. Thank you, Babu. And maybe next year we will be discussing the impact of the new amendment that have come to the Banking Regulation Act in so far as the cooperative banks are concerned, and how effective they have been in helping the banks raise capital and other objectives.
Absolutely. We should do that. And we should see how many banks have actually taken advantage of this objective.
Yes,
and
yes.
taken their business to the new level.
Thank you so much.